Louisiana, it really just feels like a whirlwind. There's just so much hypocrisy, there's so much contradiction, there's so much outright absurdity that you have to laugh to keep yourself from crying.
That is true.
Every single day.
Welcome to Seriously, the podcast that dives into the baffling.
We can't send them to a prison where there's animals, where there's livestock.
The ridiculous.
Like omelets better than sex.
And downright unbelievable political climate in red states like Louisiana.
So we can't go there. There are no vegan jails.
Seriously. Seriously.
Welcome to this new podcast where we're going to explore the frustrating hypocrisy and red state politics and reveal kind of what's actually going on beyond the rhetoric.
So much going on.
So much going on.
Mostly bad.
So each week we're going to talk about the latest developments in policy. We're going to talk about how that's impacting local communities. We're going to shed some light on the strategies and the tactics that are being employed by advocates like ourselves, by, all the people that are really working tirelessly to challenge the status quo and push for progress. And we're going to talk about legislative battles. We're going to talk about court cases, grassroots activism, community organizing.
What's the name of this podcast again?
Well, that's a good question. So the podcast is called Seriously.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. So we're your hosts. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ellie.
We're the co-founders of Lift Louisiana, an advocacy organization that has been fighting for abortion and reproductive justice for about a decade. And we've seen a lot of fuckery
We have
over these years.
Michelle got me a shirt that was the fuckery of fuck.
Yeah.
Shirt. It was good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still a fuckery of fuck.
100%. So Ellie, tell us a little bit about who you are.
I'm Ellie Schilling. I grew up in Kentucky, and we'll be talking about other red states too as we go along. So I've been in Louisiana and in New Orleans for a long time, but I think it is always sort of like good to remember that this stuff is happening everywhere. I'm a lawyer in New Orleans, and one of my big areas of practice is reproductive rights and reproductive rights and health. So litigation, legislative advocacy, et cetera, which is how you and I met before we started Lyft.
That's right. Yeah. So Ellie is our legal eagle.
Yeah, that's right.
I come from a nonprofit advocacy background. I grew up here in Louisiana, and since my 20s, I've been working for nonprofits. I've done environmental justice work. I've done reproductive justice work. Obviously, I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yes. I was just thinking there's also a lot of environmental justice work to be done in Louisiana.
100%. And obviously, these issues, none of them have much support from the leaders here in the state.
Or at the federal level at this point. There was just on the news about the Trump administration pulling out of the Cancer Alley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Lawsuit. So, and I got my seriously moment is not about that, but it's about stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the fuckery of fuck is widespread.
It is deep.
Mm-hmm.
In the deep South.
It's true.
The idea behind starting Seriously, this podcast, was born out of our shared frustration, also our passion, our deep sense of urgency about what is going on and the erosion of fundamental human rights. The politics of red states, especially in a place like Louisiana, it really just feels like a whirlwind. There's just so much hypocrisy. There's so much contradiction. There's so much outright absurdity that you have to laugh to keep yourself from crying.
That is true.
Every single day. And that's a lot of what we do. We spend hours each week talking on the phone, in the car on the way to the state capitol. We talk to other activists.
So line at night.
That's right. So Ellie, why did you want to start this podcast with me?
As I have told you, Michelle, I didn't really want to start this podcast with you. But that's not really true. It's just that as a lawyer, you were very like gentle with me about that we were going to have to do it regularly. Sort of eased me into that. But that's like always really hard as a lawyer. There's just like, I can't commit to anything, doing anything regularly that won't at some point be a huge problem with my schedule.
Right.
So there was that. But I love talking to you. I love drinking wine and venting, strategizing, etc. And obviously also I care deeply about this work. So getting to spend more time with you, maybe bring along some listeners.
Yeah,
It wasn't really hard for you to convince me.
I'm really glad.
Why did you want us to start this podcast, Michelle?
Well, it was funny because, like I said, we sit on the porch and we talk late at night and we drink wine and we are smoking cigarettes and we're strategizing, but also,
And bitching and venting.
yes,
A lot of good material comes out of those sessions.
that's 100%. And some people in my world have had the benefit of overhearing those conversations and giggling in the corner. And yeah, they kind of put the idea in my head. Maybe I should start a podcast. And I think that I get a lot of my information from podcasts. I do think it's a really incredible medium to be able to help people really stay up to date on what's happening. And so that's
Yeah.
what we're going to try here.
And I think my goal, similar to those late night conversations, like my goal for this would be, you know, conversations that have a lot of substance, a lot of information, but also are not too serious and
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because that's how you and I keep going, is by laughing at what's going on. And, we both have very irreverent senses of humor, etc. So, yeah, I think hopefully listeners will, be interested in both what the content of what we're saying, but also just the release of like, we can also just bitch about this shit. Too.
yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of it seems like, well, what the hell
Yeah.
do you do?
Right.
But we are going to try to give people things to do.
Yes.
And
I got lots of to-do lists of people
yeah,
are interested.
yeah. And I think also we can get really nerdy and in the weeds.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to
No promises on that. But
make sure that we're not using acronyms, we're explaining things. We'll see. Maybe we'll have to put a glossary in.
I'm already remembering now what I'm planning to talk about today. It's all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of acronyms. Anyway. All right. Well, let's get into that. So did anything happen
My
this week that made you think, God, seriously?
Okay, so mine is in two parts. They're separate but related. So the Trump administration announced that they're not going to enforce the FACE Act in this next administration. So for people who don't know, the FACE Act is like a federal law that that allows for federal prosecution of people who are impeding clinics, like access to healthcare at clinics. So it can be outright violence, but also stuff just the shit, like putting glue in the locks so people can't get into abortion clinics, like the staff can't get in, people barricading themselves inside a clinic room, so you have to shut the whole thing down.
Right.
Calling in bomb threats, it's a lot of tactics that have been used for a long time that are short of violence, but way more than protest, basically. That just basically prevents a patient's ability and a doctor's ability to provide services. That being said, then the prosecutors have been quiet quitting on the FACE Act for forever. It has never been a thing that was like enforced in any real way. There are so few people that have ever been charged under it.
But Biden actually did
He
charge
did.
people.
That's right. And now those prosecutions have also been dropped with
Right.
this.
That's right.
Um,
A lot of the people that were being charged under the FACE Act, one of the first things that Trump did was to pardon all of them.
Yeah, that's right.
With the Jan 6.
That's right. And some of them are the same too, of course. I mean, there's a real overlap. Yeah. But my point being, like, this was not a robustly enforced law already, and prosecutors can always like just change what they want to prioritize. When you come out and say we are not going to enforce this law,
Mhm.
that's a 100% value judgment that you are making. That like we do not agree with this law,
Right.
and we're not going to just quiet quit on it. We're going to like actually say, don't worry about this. Go do whatever the fuck you want at the clinics. It's fine. So that's part A. And then part B was this week which I forget sometimes that all of these things that happen, that, you know, with changes in state or federal government, that then, you know, also decisions are made to pursue lawsuits or to not pursue lawsuits. So hearing that, yeah, the federal government is going to drop the EMTALA case
Oh
in
my
Idaho.
Okay, so EMTALA is the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act.
I would have never been able to.
Oh my God, I got it.
You
I
did
didn't
get
even
it.
have
You did get
a
it.
cheat sheet from that. So this is the federal law that requires hospitals that are receiving Medicaid reimbursement, so that are serving Medicaid
Or
recipients.
Medicare. If
Or
you're
Medicare, any government assistance, they have to provide stabilizing treatment to a patient. And in some circumstances, stabilizing treatment is abortion.
That's right. And yeah, for background for folks who don't know, then I mean, EMTALA, it's about access to emergency healthcare, just like writ large. And it was a real game changer like decades ago when it was passed. Basically, that an emergency room cannot turn you away because you can't pay, or for whatever reason, they have to at least stabilize you to then transfer you somewhere else. So that's proven to be a real problem, though, in states that have full abortion bans.
Right.
Because, yes, as you said, stabilizing care often involves a DNC or something that is an abortion. So in Idaho now, then they are, because of their state's ban, then when women are dying, showing up dying at hospitals, they're medevacing them to other states.
Yeah.
Because of, you know, the criminal penalties for doctors if they're providing abortions there. So the federal government did actually finally, under Biden, challenge that as a preemption, that, you know, the state's law conflicts with the federal law, so the state's law has to fall. The Supreme Court did a bunch of tomfoolery, like assholery with that.
Seriously.
Yes, seriously, for real. But, you know, at this point, though, that lawsuit is ongoing, and it's important. And that the Trump administration just announced that they're dropping that.
Yeah.
They're no longer going to challenge the state's law. So to me, the real seriously thing about both of these is that neither of these things were actually going to help us that much anyway, right? Like, nobody's fucking getting prosecuted in the FACE Act. That shit's not happening.
Yeah.
Like the EMTALA lawsuit, the Supreme Court was probably going to fuck that up anyway, and maybe do something worse. Say that, like, you know, that gut EMTALA or something. Right. We don't have a Supreme Court we can trust. Even in a best case scenario, if the Supreme Court had done the right thing and sided with EMTALA, it would have taken the rest of my lifetime, even under a good administration, before the federal government got around to enforcing this in all the rest of the states. So none of this was going to save us.
Yeah.
But the message that it sends, like, that our federal government is telling people, like, number one, we don't give a shit if bad actors are preventing you from getting care. We're not going to prosecute them. And if, God forbid, you're dying or close to it, but you happen to be pregnant, good luck.
Yeah. Oh,
That's my serious thing.
Jesus. All right, I've got one.
Really? No way.
Baby Olivia bills.
So I don't, so tell me about this. So I found out a little bit about this from you yesterday. I was not aware of this amazing new, amazing new proposal that's being rolled out.
Oh my
Here.
God. All right. So these bills are being shopped all around the country. So if you live in a red state, watch this space. So it would require public schools and open enrollment public charter schools, which is important in New Orleans
Right.
because we have an all charter school system, to include a quote, human growth and development discussion in health courses starting no later than fifth grade.
Mhm.
That seems like on its face,
It
not
does.
necessarily.
That's right.
But
Where's this coming from, though? Who's proposing this?
well, this is, you hear all this stuff about critical race theory and we've got to don't say gay in schools because there's indoctrination that's happening. I mean, this is real indoctrination because what these bills would require is that health classes in public schools show
well,
this video.
for children.
Right.
Yeah, before fifth grade.
Right, exactly. Show this video called Meet Baby Olivia, and we'll post a link to the video in the show notes so y'all can watch it for yourself. But it was developed by Live Action, which is an anti-abortion organization.
They're the ones that people may be familiar with that did like the fake Planned Parenthood videos, like where they like those gotcha videos that like got Planned Parenthood into a whole lot of trouble and defunded from Medicaid for a while that it turned out were faked, and then a Texas judge like enjoined that organization instead of Planned Parenthood. It's like not 100% how it went down, but it's like close enough.
Close enough, close enough. Yeah, so this is a nefarious anti-abortion radical organization. They've made this video. It's all
Right. There's an agenda. This is
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
It's
not-
all
not
computer
like
generated.
Your science teacher from middle school decided to, put her services to the community and make this video.
Yeah. The video is bizarre. It's all computer generated. It's completely medically inaccurate in terms of like the development of a fetus.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is to promote this, misinformation about
Fetal development.
fetal development,
Yes.
about personhood,
Yes.
and so, it's not enough that they ban abortions, right? Now they're moving to like injecting all of this radical propaganda
Well,
in
and the
public education.
Yeah, and the misinformation is important because, like, I mean, it's what gets us to a situation with EMTALA, right? Where like you have a live person in front of you who is dying, and our government is like,
Oh, yeah, not dying, but like
that's right,
not
right,
not ending the pregnancy puts them at risk of maybe losing their ability to have children in the
Correct,
future,
correct.
or puts them at a higher risk for sepsis.
but like where, it's important for people to understand in states like, I mean, all the ones we're talking about, Idaho, Kentucky here, that the limitations on being able to provide care are regardless of gestational age. It does not matter. It doesn't matter at all whether like the fetus is far enough along that it could ever survive outside of your body,
Right.
or that whatever the fuck is going on like with both the fetus and the mom, that's like even a realistic possibility.
Right.
So like making people believe that there's like a real, like a fully formed baby, a real fully formed baby inside of everyone all along is how we get here, right? As opposed to like, no, I mean, you see the fully formed person in front of you. It's the woman, it's the pregnant person. And we're not going to really prioritize that because, like, there's this, they don't view it as a potential for life. They view it as like, there are two literal lives.
Right.
And that's the point of this. And
And
a computer generated version of, I mean, I'm sure it's very accurate.
Oh my God, it's crazy. Yeah. And mind you, this law is being introduced. It hasn't been introduced in Louisiana yet, but it could be.
Friends don't. Yeah. When does this shit post after the session starts? I'm worried we're gonna give people ideas.
It posts before the
Yeah,
legislative
maybe.
session. when we
But after the
start.
brief round, yeah. Our
Uh,
enemies are always watching. So.
yeah, but they're not teaching
Sex
any
education.
other,
You're not teaching sex education.
yeah, legitimate health education regarding contraception,
Yes.
reproductive health care, other issues related to pregnancy.
Right.
It has nothing to do with educating young people about pregnancy.
This is a propaganda video.
100%.
Yes. And it's medically inaccurate.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. I mean, the context being, for folks who don't know, then in Louisiana, then schools are not mandated to teach sex education.
Right.
Period. The end. And if they do, the like public schools, then it has to be abstinence only. Sex
Absolutely.
education.
Abstinence.
As you're right. That's right. It does. You are correct. It doesn't say only. But the point being that a lot of schools then are basically not teaching sex ed
Right.
at all. Like not at all.
Right.
They don't know how to do it. It's controversial. The government has said like, maybe do it, maybe don't do it. So in that environment, that then you would inject also, and we're not an outlier with that. There's
Right.
plenty of places like that you would be injecting like medically inaccurate, basically fake videos
Yeah.
of like how fully formed a fetus is. That I mean, I have, in fairness, I have not seen it. I feel like I always criticize like people when they want to ban books that they haven't seen. So I will. But I have seen this shift.
Yes.
I have seen this rodeo many, many times. So I'm pretty confident that, most of what it will be is things also that like have no scientific basis.
Yeah.
Like, there have been claims for years about like when a fetus can feel pain,
Mhm.
that like you will hear from, the anti-abortion folks is very, very early. And all doctors will say like that's not possible because it's long before your spinal cord is formed.
Right.
So there's just like a lot of things that, when a fetus can hear, like just all sorts of shit that basically like can't really totally be proven, but doctors say what they're saying, like does not make any sense. So yeah.
Yeah.
The
Especially
anti-science
because
is always good. Just keep
when,
going.
yeah, like when they have like induced labor pre-viability, the medical community knows.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What state of being that fetus
No,
is.
and also knows just, with ultrasound, fetal
Right.
development as well.
It's well known.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Plus, it just reminds me, I was telling you last night that years ago, and I don't remember what bill it was. It might have been the D&E ban. I don't know. So some bill in the Louisiana legislature where Mike Johnson, actually, I remember him being there. Who, at that time, Louisiana legislator, now our Speaker of the House. But where the proponents of the bill are up at the table and they have a science diorama, like the shit that you would have of like a womb with a fetus in it,
Right.
like that you would have seen in science class. That is like at like the ninth month, like absolutely like fully formed fetus, like full gestation. They have this sitting on the table the whole time while they're talking about a bill that would have impacted pregnancies and abortions like
At 12
weeks and
yeah.
weeks and weeks before. Like, that's this shit, like right there.
Yeah.
Just like in a like just completely like irrelevant,
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but like is super intentional in terms of being inflammatory,
Yeah.
being misinformation, and now we're going to feed that to our kids.
Yeah. And I think, it is really inflammatory
Yes.
because if you're convincing people that every single abortion that occurs, regardless of what stage of
Yes.
pregnancy, is literally ripping a fully formed
Yes.
baby out of the womb, limb by
That's
limb.
right.
I mean, that's the disgusting stuff that they
Yes.
are trying to teach.
That's right. And that is exactly how they describe it.
Right.
100%. And
That bill was called like
it was
like
the dismemberment. It was a dismemberment. Yeah, dismemberment abortion
I
ban.
can't tell you who I'd like to dismember.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Like there's what they know is that the, you know, most people don't know they're pregnant before 6 weeks, whatever, all the shit that, with the very early gestational age bands where a normal person like understands that like fetal development is not like very fully formed at that point. Whatever your ideas about like when life begins, whatever, blah blah blah. And they want to kind of jump from that to like the end, right? Because almost all abortions happen in that period.
Yeah.
Like almost all abortions happen in the first trimester. Like that's always been true.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that abortions in the second trimester aren't like often necessary, appropriate, et cetera, or whatever. But by then, like there is more fetal development. It's the rest of it that they want to make people believe that like basically once you get past, 6 weeks, might as well be at 20.
Right.
Yeah. Same shit, man.
It's unbelievable.
I think that hearing, it might have actually been the same day, but was certainly in the same committee around the same time. It was like only slightly less shameful than the bill that was genetic anomaly bill.
Yeah.
The abortion ban on genetic anomalies that would have been at 22 weeks. So like beyond our ban already. So it had like the bill had like would have no legal effect at all. And the parade of children that were brought to the table at that hearing, like children with really serious physical and cognitive, like seriously disabled children,
Right.
brought to the table to promote, and I mean they weren't promoting it, the fucking adults with them were,
Right.
to promote that law. I mean, that's probably the word, the time I was the most disgusted at our legislature, and I've been very disgusted.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's really hard to pick a top
I think
moment.
I think it's the disgust though. Like,
Right.
there's been many other times that I was like furious or like or scared. I mean, there was the time that like what the fucking legislator was at the table with known terrorists who like someone afraid of the FACE Act, who are not afraid of
Someone who should have been prosecuted under the FACE
Act. That phased me zero. I was like, fuck all of you. But like the kids being used as props was
really
it was
gross.
disgusting.
It was gross.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. So yeah, our goal with this podcast, we want to expose what's really going on. We're going to talk a lot about laws being introduced, being passed.
Because our legislative session is about to start.
Yeah. And like I said, we're not just going to talk shit, although that's going to be a big piece of this. We also want to make sure that people who are listening get some good information, learn something, take action. So yeah, we need to hold power accountable. I mean, I think that's kind of our purpose here. We also really want to celebrate like the amazing resilience of people that are doing this work, no matter how they are taking care of themselves in that process. I mean, you and I are wine and cigarette self-care junkies.
For sure.
Other people meditate. I don't like to be forced to meditate. I'm really
But do what works, right?
Yes.
Do what works. Which maybe what will work for you is to send us your seriously moments. So you can go on Instagram and record. What am I supposed to say? You send us a voice message. You do have to read it. Scripted. I know. That's not maybe. Send us a voice message on Instagram and tell us what made you go seriously. So yeah, email us, voice recordings. We would love to hear from you with your venting, or tell us something interesting that we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll read or play some of them on the
If it's
podcast.
good, make it good.
Make it good. Make it good. So yeah, we hope that you will also rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And we'll be back next week where we are going to talk about some of the actual bills that have been introduced in other states while we are waiting for the fuckery to begin here in Louisiana in April. So
That's right. Yeah, our legislative session is later, so I'm usually completely focused on other work and pretending like it's not coming.
yeah, yeah, same. It always sneaks up on us.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week.
Seriously is presented by Lift Louisiana, a nonprofit organization advocating for reproductive health rights and justice.